Hi there. This is Lisa from the future. Today's actually Monday, New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year's. I just wanted to pop in here and preempt the actual video because I recorded the podcast that you're about to see, episode 301. I did that on Saturday eve, well, late afternoon. And then I tried to process it yesterday, which was Sunday. However, in the middle of processing it, in the middle of editing it, my software just shut down. Didn't background save anything. It was all lost. And so I didn't have a chance to sit down to try to edit it again until just now, which is Monday afternoon. So I just wanted to let you know that there has been a significant time gap between when I first recorded and when you're going to end up seeing it. And that's really only important because there were several points in the video where I referred to a sale that I have going on in my shop right now, which it is still going on. It's going on through tomorrow, through New Year's Day. However, I mentioned it, I think, in reference to specific products, and I said, oh yeah, I think there's still some of those in my shop, and I'm pretty sure that anything that I referenced in that way at this point is probably not still in the shop. So I just didn't want you to be disappointed if you heard me say that and then you went to the shop because you were interested in it and then saw that it was gone. There is still quite a good bit of stuff in the shop on sale. In fact, I put a whole bunch of things like Christmas and winter colorways and a whole bunch of other like sets, yarn and pattern sets, some yarn and bag sets, some just like yarn sets in general. A lot of things I put on sale even before I started the actual sale with the coupon code. So if you're in the mood to do some last minute shopping before the end of the year or to celebrate the new year, maybe hop on over to the shop, fibernymphdyeworks.com, and check out what's in the shop and use coupon code out with the old and you'll get 25% off your entire order. That's good for anything that's in stock, even sale items. It's not good on any pre-order items or custom orders, but in stock stuff, it's good to go. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that there is a gap between when I originally recorded and when this is finally going to get to go up. So now you know that, and now I will turn you over to Lisa of the past for our regularly scheduled episode 301. Happy New Year, and I will see you again soon. Bye. Hi there. Welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 301. I'm Lisa, also known as Fibernymph, and I will be your host today and every episode. I feel like I haven't done this in a while because I got in that Vlogmas mode where it's very informal, and so now I don't even know what I'm saying. Anyway, hi, I hope you're doing well. I hope you've had a really lovely holiday season, or at least a lovely late December if you don't celebrate any holidays. It is December 29th, Saturday the 29th. We've only got a few days left in December and in this year, which is just amazing to me. It always feels like a year goes by fast, generally at this time. But I honestly have to say, I can't say that about this year. I feel like this was really one long-arsed year, if I'm going to be honest. Not in a bad way. I mean, a lot of good things happened this year, but it was just very, very long and very busy, and I have so been enjoying especially this last week or so of December, because I haven't done a lot of anything. I've done stuff, but it's been much more relaxed. It's not been that harried pace that I was at most of the year. So anyway, I'll talk a little bit more about what's been going on here. But anyway, if you've been watching throughout the month, I did participate in Vlogmas up till about day 18. I think that was the last day I got edited and uploaded. I know I recorded a little bit on 19 and 20, but I never had a chance to edit or upload those because then my mom got here on the 21st and I was busy cleaning and cooking and getting ready for her, and yeah, it just sort of fell apart at that point. But if you did watch Vlogmas, thank you so much for doing that. I know I got a lot of positive feedback on that, and it was just fun. Oh, excuse me. It was very fun to do that. It's so much different than doing a regular podcast. Now we're drawing to the end of December, so I wanted to get one last podcast, regular podcast, in this month. And you'll see that we are in a new location. This is the yarn room, also known as our spare bedroom, but it's primarily my yarn room. Behind you is a wall of yarn, which I will have to give you a tour of someday. It's finally coming together enough that I feel like I can give you a tour. I'm sitting on our couch that we got, the sleeper sofa, which my mom and her hubby stayed on while they were here over Christmas, and they have given it the thumbs up as being a very comfortable place to sleep, so that's a win. Since I don't have a lot of time, plus I just realized my phone is almost dead, so I'm not sure how long it's going to last before it decides to go off. Yeah, I don't even have a way to plug it in right here. Anyway, I just thought I would set myself up here in the corner of the couch and see how much I could get recorded before I need to either stop and plug my phone in or stop and get ready to go. Because like I said, my husband and I have a get-together to go to this evening. So without further ado, let's get into the podcasty part of the podcast. My laptop's over here to the left, so that's why I'm looking over here. Oh, I did record the 300th episode earlier in December. It was a part A and part B deal because it was very long. I did the Q&A from the drawing thread and then announced the drawing winners. That was all part B. And so part A was like the regular content of the podcast. I believe I've heard back from 2 of the 3 winners for the drawing. Matter of fact, one just popped in right before I started recording, so I haven't even had a chance to reply to her, but I'm still waiting to hear from one of the winners. So if you posted in the drawing thread, you might want to check that out. I announced the winners at the very end of 300 part B, so if you don't want to watch the whole thing, you could just zoom to the back or the end and see if you're one of the winners. Okay, so let's talk about knitting. I have some finished objects, one of which I cannot show you, but I will show you the ones I can. I finished the hat for my husband that I charted out after I decided that the lodgepole hat chart was not going to be appropriate for this hat. And I love how it turned out. And better yet, he loves it too. So this is what I'm calling the Golden Aspens hat. I had a bear of a time getting the decreases how I wanted them. And I'm still not 100% happy with them. I ended up starting them in the color work chart because had I not, this would have gotten to be a very long hat and I didn't want that. I think if I did this again, I would do it probably a little differently. I'm not 100% sure how though. It would take some work, but I'm happy with how it turned out in general. It did work. It fits him. I wish I would have made the brim about an inch longer because this is where he's wearing it. And obviously the gold is down here rather than up here. I wish it was up here, but that would have required like another inch. And I could pick up this edge and add another inch of gold to it, but I'm not going to because he said he likes it just fine. What I might do is add this little pom-pom because I was joking around with pom-poms. He's like, you can put a pom-pom on my hat. I'm like, okay. And I hadn't actually made this specifically for his hat, but I had it because I made it out of this yarn, the green yarn, but I made it just because I was practicing pom-poms for this scarf actually, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I made this one to check out how big it would be because I had never used this smaller pom-pom maker before. And so I made it and then I gave it to Tippy, who was trying to annoy me while I was doing the pom-poms anyway, and she wanted nothing to do with this one because I willingly gave it to her. But it's the right size. I could put it on this and I may, so we'll see. So anyway, this is just my own design. I designed it pretty much on the fly. I do have the chart up on my project page in Ravelry. However, I changed that chart as I went along. I added this bit here so that there weren't as long floats through all these rows. That is not in the chart. And then these decreases up here within the color work, those are not in the chart either. So it's not an accurate chart if you were going to try to replicate this, but it's close. So anyway, this is my Mountain Tweed DK base in the lichen colorway and the burnished gold colorway. I really like the contrast I got out of that. So I consider this a win. And I got it done before Christmas. I finished it Christmas Eve because, like I said, I literally ripped those decreases out 4 times before I finally got them to a point that I liked them. All right, another project I did start and finish since the last time I recorded, I believe, was a hat for my mom's husband. I made the Go Steelers hat. That is by Becca Inman, and I think it was a free pattern on Ravelry. I pretty much followed the pattern as it was. I think it was written for worsted. No, it was written for DK. I don't know what it was. I used worsted. I used my cozy worsted weight base. I'll try to remember to stick a picture of it in here. I never got a picture of it with Roy wearing it. I have a picture with Bill wearing it when I first finished it. I'll have to have my mom have Roy take a picture with it on or something and send it to me. But he really liked it. It fit him fine, and he loves the Steelers, and he did wear the hat while he was up here, so that was another win. And then this is my big happy project, my Advent scarf, and I know you can't really see it super well. Oh, sorry, I'm sitting on the arm of the couch now. But, so here are my chevron ends. The pattern is called Favorite Scarf Ever by Lisa Bruce. It is a pattern on Ravelry also, and I think it was a free pattern. It may not have been. I don't remember. I don't know. I got it on Ravelry. You can see the link in my project page. Okay, my phone just shut off, so I ran and I got my charger. My charger's almost out of juice too, so we're going to see how long I can get this to go. I was talking about the scarf. I don't remember where I left off. I was doing this scarf as my Advent project to participate in the knit along that Carol from A Stitch in Time podcast was doing through Advent, and I had a set of 26 minis that went in a gradient from this gold through greens into blues. I had pulled it out for another project that I never really did, and it was perfect for this one. So 26 was a little bit more than I needed, but I did make use of them all, and I loved it. Essentially what I did was I followed the pattern, the Lisa Bruce pattern, and I like did one section. You can't really see, well, I know I showed this on the last podcast, so you'll know if you already watched. Basically I did a fade. I faded in each color, so I did a section and then I would fade in for a couple of, I don't know, I think I did like 3 every other, alternating sections, and then went on with the second one and then did that fade again and so forth. And some of them obviously you can see much more pronounced than others, and there's some up in the greens that are really, really obvious, in the blues. It just turned out so cool. I really love it. I enjoyed making this so much, and here, I'll take it off. It turned out so long. It's literally 2 inches shy of being 9 feet long, which is why I have it wrapped around so many times. But basically what you did is you did half of it, and then you went and started from the other end, which meant I started with my day 1 mini and worked through day 13, and then I started with my day 26 mini and worked backwards through day 14 so that the colors would be in the right order. And then you take the 2 sides and you graft them. Now obviously my graft looks a little bit funny because I did not get to fade these 2 colors together as I would have if I would have been going. I know there were ways I could have kind of mitigated that, but I didn't think ahead to do that, and I don't really care because this part's pretty much always going to be at the back of my neck and be covered up with the scarf being wrapped. But yeah, it's so long. But I love it. It's light and drapey, and I know I mentioned pom-poms, and you might remember I talked about the fact that Steel City Stitcher, Rebecca, had done one of these, and I fell in love with the pattern after I saw hers, and she had put little pom-poms on the ends, on these little chevron ends. And that was like going to be the crowning point of this project for me. But once I finished it and realized how long it was, and also how drapey it turned out to be, I really kind of didn't want to put the pom-poms on. I did make them, and it was funny, I posted on Instagram a picture of the scarf and then like 3 different alternatives that I was thinking about for the pom-poms with regard to the colors, because I'd kind of gradiated the pom-poms as well. And so I think I've gotten like over 50 replies to that already, with people saying, no pom-pom, yes pom-pom, we have team pom-pom. It's pretty funny. A couple people suggested that I could put the pom-poms on and then take them off if I didn't like them. One person said, you know, you can always put them on with like a safety pin or something, so you don't even have to have them on permanently, like a little snap or a clip. And I thought I probably could do that with those bulb, you know, progress keepers or stitch markers, those, you know, bulb markers. I could try to do that and see how I'd like it, but honestly, the way I was just wearing it is really how I think I would want to wear it most of the time, because this way, hitting myself in the face with it, I can really wear it as an accessory with an outfit, as opposed to having it as be something heavier that I'd be wearing outside just to keep warm in the winter. Not that you can't have pom-poms on accessories. They're very fun and kicky and flirty, and I don't know. They're different. And I'm not anti-pom-pom. I have pom-poms on other things. I like pom-poms, but honestly, I just think I'll get more wear out of this particular scarf without pom-poms on it. And my husband agrees. He really likes it without the pom-poms as well. So I think I'm going to just leave the pom-poms off for now. I do have them, so I could always try them later. I'm going to actually leave this off now because it's very warm in this room. But anyway, I'm so happy with this project. I want to make more. I'm really tempted to go through all my minis and try to do another gradient, like maybe with some purples and some other blues. I don't know what I have left on my minis though, you know, because I did use a lot with these, and I used a bunch with my granny stripes, well, my other mini collection that I pulled together for Advent, which I did add stripes to my granny stripes blanket. I think I got up through day 11, maybe 11 or 12. Obviously I did not keep up with that, but it's there and I'll keep working on it. It's kind of nice having minis pulled out ahead of time, so then I can just sit down and work on it when I want to. Anyway, so the scarf was, I think, right now, this is like my favorite project that I've done in a really, really long time. I mean, I love the hat. Don't get me wrong. Love the hat. But I am in love with the colors and the way this all came together on this scarf. It's just made me so, so happy that, yeah, I can't stop playing with it and just looking at it. And I mean, you know, I love this because I blocked it right away. As soon as I was done grafting it together. Funny story though, I started grafting it together one night while my mom was here, and we were chatting, and there was a glass of wine involved, and I realized halfway through the graft that I had one side facing up and the other side with the right side facing down, and that was not correct. So I had to pick out all my grafting, and then I just set it aside and worked on it a couple nights later and finished it. So. And then I blocked it right away, and it was done. So I have my pretty pictures, and was able to actually enter it in the finished object thread on Carol's group, which I never end up doing with knit-alongs. I actually did the whole thing, so that was exciting. All right, those are my only finished objects, but I feel like that was a lot considering I've had a busy month. I do have a hoe, and I think I was working on this the last time I recorded. So this is the Trapezoid Sock by Sarah Jordan. I do have kits for these in the shop right now if you are interested. They're super fun, a fun shorty sock. I got the first one done. For my second one, I'm going to switch the colors and do black as the main color and the aqua shock as the contrast color. But that's just me, how I like it. But there are options in the shop as far as what yarn you want. If you want enough to be able to do that, or if you just want to be able to make your one pair and be done. Because actually, if you got more yarn, you could do 2 pairs. But anyway, this is the Trapezoid Sock, again, by Sarah Jordan, and I finished the first sock. So hopefully I'll get the second sock cast on. Again, it's a sport weight sock. You would think that would go pretty quickly, but I was not being a monogamous knitter at the time that I was doing it either. What else did I work on? I worked on another Sarah Jordan pattern. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Okay. Oh, sorry, gotta reach. Another Sarah Jordan pattern that has a lot of other extraneous things in the project bag. This is her mini maximization shawl pattern, which was also a new release in December, and it was also one that I put kits up for in the shop for one of the 12 Yays of Christmas. And I cast mine on using one of the purple and blue sets. So I am in my third color transition now. I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see it with the light in here. But this was pretty much the first color, and then here it starts into the second bluish purple, and I just started the third one here. So you can see the difference here. It's such a fun color progression. So there's 6 minis that are semi-solids, and then 6 minis that are speckled partners, I guess you could say, of the semi-solids. And so that's what you're using as your alternate. Now I'm using the speckled ones as my short row colors. Sarah did hers differently, and she used the autumn colors. This is the winter color set, but she used the autumn color set, and she used her semi-solids as the short rows, and that looked really cool too. So anyway, I'm just plugging along on this. It's really very fun, and it's stockinette. It's mostly, or I'm sorry, it's garter stitch, so it's mostly pretty mindless. Doing the short rows gives it a little bit of, you know, extra. You get to look forward to doing the short rows, which is fun, but the rows do get quite long. So if you're looking for a project that you don't have to do a lot of thinking and you can just knit, it was a really good project for when I was sitting around, like when my mom was here and we were, you know, just sitting and chatting and whatever. It was an excellent project for that. Or, you know, for watching TV or movies or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't take this to a movie in the dark, but like sitting at home watching a movie or something. Oh, sorry, I just bumped the camera. It was pretty perfect for that. I feel like I'm set up differently. My camera went off before, and that's why I think it looks a little different. I may not have set it up the whole way. The same way. Sorry. This is my aught light standing here. Or maybe if I do that, is that better? I don't know. Okay, let's move on. Oh, now I feel like I'm really close. Maybe I have to sit back further. I have to be really careful with the camera right now just because it is plugged in. There, I'll do that. I don't know what's going on with this right now. Okay. I worked on the Jingle Jangle socks. You know, I had originally cast these on just so that I would have a sample to show in the shop listing of each of the colorways, and I really hadn't intended on making full socks with these. I was just going to make shorty socks. But then I've had times over the holidays where I've just needed something very easy and plain stockinette to work on, so I've just kept knitting them, and they're fine. I have a little weird little blip right there on that one. I'm not sure why, but so this is the 50s retro colorway. There's still a couple skeins of this in the shop, although I will say I've got a sale going on right now. It's my Out With the Old sale, so I don't know if anybody's purchased them in the last couple of hours or not. But anyway, that's the pink one, and then this is the tealish one. So this is the Retro 50s set of the Jingle Jangle colorway with the fun speckled stripes. And I did take this one to a movie the other night. My mom and I went to see Second Act, which was cute. It's kind of predictable, but it was good. And I totally messed it up very soon into the movie, so I ended up just putting it away and not really knitting on it, and then having to come home and rip a lot of it back out. Well, not a lot, but rip out most of what I had done in the movie because I just didn't do it very well. So anyway, those are on my bounce base. US ones, probably. I don't know. Either ones or zeros, but I'm pretty sure these are on ones. And yeah, I am very out of practice of doing a regular podcast. Sorry, I just don't have anything too exciting to say about those because they're just plain vanilla socks. I have one other project that I have really worked on, although not as much as I would have liked to, and it's a new cast on, and it's the Hedge Witch Shawl by Nat Redwolf. You've probably heard this being talked about on some other podcasts as well. It's delightful. I cast it on the 22nd. This is the knit along that's being hosted by Sarah from Fibertrek and Nicole from the Gentle Knitter podcast. And it's running from the cold moon in December to the wolf moon in January. So that is December 22nd through January 21st, I believe. And here's my progress. So it's not super big yet. I haven't had a lot of time to work on it, and it's only a 4-row repeat in this section, but I haven't quite gotten it memorized. I've got it mostly memorized. Like, I can, once I get started in the row, it's very easy to do without looking at anything, but I do have to think a little bit until I get it going. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm doing it with my my non-superwash DK base, which is my Ridgetop DK. This is one of 2 bases that I will be introducing in the shop in January. They are an 80-20 Romney Falkland blend. They're both 3 plies, and this is the DK weight. And I just love it so much. It's just amazing. I love it. It's very bouncy. And it's very springy, and even the project has such a nice bounce because of that. I'm loving working with it. It's amazing to work with, if I do say so myself. I think I can say that because I'm not the one who actually spun it. I'm not the mill or the person from the mill. Anyway, yeah. So this is Hedge Witch. This is all the farther I've gotten, but I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad to be taking part in it. And I've got it in my wonderful moon bag that I got from Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarns. It's huge. This bag holds, this has all of my yarn in it for this project, which is, I think I've got 4 skeins. Well, I've only got two skeins wound into cakes, but then I have 2 more. At some point I am going to start alternating because these all turned out slightly differently, and I don't want to have any big lines in the project. And then I have this color, which is my dark brown, that I will be using as the contrast later on in the shawl. This is sort of a modified iron oxide color that I did. So yeah, I'm still playing with the colors of this yarn to try to decide what I want to do with it before I launch it. I'm launching it in semi-solid shades to begin with. So, but this yarn just takes dye so much differently than my other yarns. Non-superwashes always take dye differently than superwash yarn. So I'm getting to know the yarn, basically, is what I'm doing. But you can look forward to that coming up in January. I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Alright, those are all the projects I managed to work on since I spoke to you last. I have not spun anything yet. Just, it's not happening, and that's okay. Coming up, as far as projects, I don't really have anything specific. I really want to work on the Hedge Witch shawl. I know I want to work on that. I'll probably continue to work on those Jingle Jangle socks just again because they're here, they're easy, they're, you know, they're plain stockinette socks, and so they're a good project to have around to work on. I have some, like, I would really like to, I obviously did not finish my arboreal sweater for Christmas. I do want to get back to that because I would like to wear that this year. Sorry, my back is bothering me, so I'm kind of sitting here funny. Yeah, I just don't have any strong feelings about what I want to work on. As much as I would love to cast on another one of those scarves in short order, I'm kind of holding off. I'm not necessarily in a cast on mood. And I've been seeing a ton of patterns that people are saying, ooh, I want to do this in 2019, you know, doing their Make 9 lists and stuff. And I'm queuing them, but I don't feel compelled to need to cast any of those on right now. I do kind of want to make a Make 9 list. I've got this weird thing about that. If you remember last year, do you remember I put together my folder, my pattern pool folder of 2018? It had like dozens of patterns in it, and I was going to draw from that folder and knit my projects mostly from that folder this year. I haven't looked at it lately, but I think I maybe knit 1 pattern out of it. There were so many color work patterns in there. I did practically no color work throughout the year. Other than, you know, I did this hat here at the end of the year. I've got my arboreal, which has been languishing. I'm trying to think, you know, the sock, did this. I did a Xenolith hat. No, was it a Xenolith hat? No. I think I did the Xenolith last year. Maybe it was earlier this year. I don't remember now. I did not do a lot of color work. And I don't know why, because I really wanted to. All those mitts I was going to knit for gifts and those little, did none of those. The mitts I was going to knit, those little advent mittens, you know, the numbers on them. I started the first one, never got it finished, never did any more of them. So I don't know. Sometimes whenever I make a plan like that, it ends up being my downfall, honestly. It's like, oh, well, these are the things you want to do? Nope, I think we're going to totally go in different directions. But I did have a really good making year, and I'm happy with what I made. As I do every year, I sat down the other day and I took some time to make a list of all the projects that I did this year and how many I did in each category, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have any more finished objects this year. I think my scarf was probably the last one. So I went through and I did it, and I will say, do I have this on here? My project recap notes. I ended up knitting 13,369 yards in finished projects this year. So that doesn't count things that are started from this year that aren't finished. That's just finished yardage. So obviously that also includes some projects that I'd started last year that fell over into this year, but that's how I keep track of them, when I finish them. That's 12 more yards than I finished last year, which I always try to beat my year before. I'm still 814 yards short of my 2014 total, which was 14,183, and I'm almost 3,500 yards short of 2015's total. However, I finished 2 Afghans in 2015, which was almost 5,000 yards in and of itself. So that year was kind of an anomaly. Because both of those Afghans, well, one I did knit the whole one that year. That was when I did my daughter's Afghan for her birthday. But the other one was that giant Afghan of doom that I call my runway cozy. It was so long and so big, and I just finally decided I'm done with it because it never was going to get to be as wide as it needed to be. But that was a lot of yardage in those 2 projects. So I'm pretty happy with where I was for this year, especially considering how busy a year it was. It's just some weird little thing, like my own inner competition. I don't know why. But anyway, this year, here's my tallies for what I knit this year. I made 2 scarves. This one, and then I did that one that I wove, which was my only weaving project. But I'm including it in here since I have it included in my Ravelry projects. So 2 scarves. I did 15 hats, which is not unusual for me. I always do a lot of hats. Both charity hats and gifts for other people and some for me. Finished 1 Afghan, which was the Afghan for my son, and he did like it. He acknowledged it. He said he took a nap with it the day before, and so I'll take that as a win. I did 12 pairs of socks, which I felt like that was a little light, but then I went back and I looked, and in past years I do an average of anywhere between 10 and 14 pairs of socks every year, it seems. So 12's right there in the middle, so that's pretty respectable. I did 2 sets of mitts, which that does seem light. I feel like I often do more than that, but maybe not. I don't know. 6 shawls, that was pretty good. I did 6 dishcloths, which that's probably pretty average. I like to do dishcloths now and then. I only did 1 cowl. That was odd, because I really like cowls, and I tend to knit more than 1 a year, but I only did 1 this year. And I finished 1 sweater, and that was my hero cardigan, and that was way early this year that I finished it. And then along with that, I had like a bunch of little miscellaneous things, especially from whenever I did that, that 18 holes thing, I think, from the splash pad party. Remember when you had that challenge that I did? So I did, like, you know, those little mini mitered squares and the hat for the egg and the cat toy, and like I had a lot of small things also this year that I'm just kind of grouping together in miscellaneous. So I'm really happy with what I made this year. You know, again, this isn't a quantitative thing that I really feel like I have to hit a certain number. I always just find it interesting to see where my knitting fell compared to past years, category wise. So that's really neither here nor there. It's just, you know, trivia personal knitting trivia, I guess. But going back to the Make 9, I'm not going to really talk too much about it this week because I haven't made any decisions. I would like to set out a plan for next year, if only for two reasons. One reason, to maybe give my making a little bit more direction, because I am really busy. You know, work takes up a lot of my time, as it does for many of us. And I feel like if I at least had some general direction, I may be better off than like just casting on a whim. I don't want to rule out casting on a whim because I love doing that too. But yeah, I think I would like a little bit more direction for myself. And I really want to think about it though, rather than just printing off a folder full of patterns and saying, I'm going to knit some from these. And also, I would like to make better use of the yarn that I have. Again, I'm looking over here kind of off to the side of you. I have a lot of sweater lots of yarn. I have a lot of quantities of yarn that I could use for a lot of different projects. One of my plans here over the next few days, or maybe within the first few days of January, is to really go through my active stash. I've already gone through my deep stash and I've purged it. I think I took three or four, but at least 3 huge garbage bags full of yarn to Goodwill. And I don't feel a bit bad about it. It was yarn that was lovely. It was all good yarn, like nice yarn, not indie dyed yarn, but it was all, you know, nice quality commercial brand yarn. Wool, a lot of it was wool. And I just knew I was never going to use it. And so I felt like it was time to just pass it on someplace else, that hopefully other people who maybe can't afford to buy yarn at full price can go to Goodwill. If you're near the Mount Pleasant Goodwill in Pennsylvania, hey, stop by. Maybe you'll find some of my yarn. I don't know how Goodwill works. If they keep the stuff there, do they take it to other stores? I really don't know. They may have a nice collection of yarn in their store at this point. I have no idea. Anyway, I've got tons of yarn left, and it's the yarn like that I'm actively looking at pretty regularly. I want to go through it all, and I want to pull stuff out and kind of put it together with projects that I think I might like to do. Maybe, you know, I'll pick a sweater lot and say this would be good for this project, or this project. So I'm not like hemming myself into any one project, but I'm giving myself options. And I want to organize it better so that it's there and I'm able to look at it and pull stuff off and say, okay, this is what I'm going to work on now. I would really like to get things narrowed down so that I don't have as many projects on the needles. I have a huge bin of whips that have been languishing. A bunch of those are probably just going to get frogged because I don't think I'm ever going to finish them. I don't have a problem with having many, many whips on the needles. I've always been somebody who's had a lot of whips on the needles. But it gets to a point, like right now, it just feels burdensome to have that many projects that I've cast on over. I mean, some of those have probably been in that bin now for a couple of years, off and on. And that just feels weighty to me, like not in a good way. So I would like to get that under control a little bit. But the other thing about making a plan, a Make 9-ish plan, is not just specific projects, but it's yarn I would definitely like to use, but it's also non-knitting projects, other kind of making. Like I really would like to get into my weaving a little bit more. I've got those other craft projects like that needle punch stuff that I bought at Rhinebeck. I've not tried it yet. I really would like to spend more time doing other making that is not directly related to my knitting and my dyeing and things like that. That's where my default is, you know, it's the knitting, it's what I do with the yarn that I dye, but I don't feel like it needs to be that all the time, and I feel like it would be a little healthier for me maybe if I was taking some time off doing other things. It's been nice to have free time over the holidays, even though I wasn't really making. I mean, I did a lot of baking, so that's a sort of making, but even doing Vlogmas, I mean, that was a different type of creativity outside of my regular knitting that I would have been doing during the time that I was spending doing Vlogmas and, you know, editing and all that kind of stuff with the podcast. Sewing. I would like to be doing more sewing. You know, when I cleaned out this room, I have 2 huge bins of fabric. I need to do stuff with them. I don't know. I want my Make 9 to be more categorical than individual projects, I guess is what I'm saying, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be thinking about that, and maybe on the next episode I will talk more about that if I come to any decisions. Or maybe I'll just do a separate little video about that. I'm just really trying to be more mindful. I feel like I say this every year, that I want to be more mindful in everything that I do. And sometimes I succeed and sometimes I don't. But that's where my head is right now with this whole Make 9 thing. Let's see. Let's jump back into the normal stuff. I feel like that really went off in sort of a philosophical direction there for a while. Let's pull it back in. We have a cal of our own going on right now. That was the November and December cal, the one for you, one for me along, which you've got a few more days to finish up your projects. I will close that thread probably sometime January 1st, and then the next time I record, I will pull a winner. I haven't looked at the finished object thread lately, so I don't know. I don't know how many people have posted in there recently, but I know we've had some posts. So depending on how many participants we have posting finished objects will determine how many prizes I draw. But if you participate in it, you'll possibly get a prize. But I will announce that on the next podcast, which will be the first podcast in January. I'm not going to talk about new things right now because even though I do have some new things, I don't have them in here with me. So I will save that for next time as well. So that pretty much, I think, takes me to 10%, which was mainly our holidays, which were very nice, very low-key, perfect for me. I love low-key. My mom was here, my mom and her husband. They arrived actually on the winter solstice on the 21st, so we had our winter solstice dinner that night, which was lovely. My son came up for that as well, and then they went off and they did some stuff on Saturday, so I worked that Saturday. I did a whole bunch of dyeing. I've really taken a good bit of time off over the holidays. I've made it very known across my social media that I'm working very limited hours through the rest of this year over the holidays. And it's been good. It's been very good. It actually took a lot of work time to do the 12 Yays of Christmas. That was a pretty intense endeavor, doing those updatey kind of things every other day. More work than I had anticipated at the outset of that project, but it was good. So thank you all too. I know I'm kind of jumping into shop news, but thank you if you shopped any of my 12 Yays of Christmas. That was a lot of fun. So anyway, my mom was here. It was just so nice to have her here. They were here for a week. It went way too fast. You know, we were both crying at the end when she had to leave, and you know, I just don't see her that often. And you know, I tend to have these morbid thoughts like, what if this is the last time? What if something happens? You know, and I know I shouldn't think that way, but you can't help it because, you know, as you watch your parents get older, you know, and I mean, who knows? I could get hit by a bus tomorrow too. But, you know, it's just, I really was very cognizant of her being here and the time we had to spend. And we played games a lot, cards and Scrabble and bananagrams, and we just had a good time and cooked a lot and ate. Oh my gosh, we had so much food. My refrigerator is still packed. Yeah, anyway, it was just a lot of fun. As far as anything I got for Christmas, I mean, having them here and just spending time with them was probably the best gift, but I did get 2 pretty cool gifts. One was a gift for both my husband and I from my mom and her hubby. It was a Roomba. I have wanted a Roomba for a while now, and oh my gosh, this thing is so cool. It's great entertainment. Matter of fact, I ran it today, and today was the first day I ran it and then just let it do its thing, and I didn't stand there and watch it because we were just fascinated with watching it figure out where to go and how to not bump into things. It was just so cool. So cool. Love this Roomba. I'm calling him Roomby because I'm super creative that way. But then my husband got me a fabulous gift, and it's been here, I think, a little over a month now, and I've, so obviously I've seen it. I just haven't talked about it yet. We're apparently a sidecar family now. He has his camper sidecar motorcycle that we took with us on vacation, and I'm now the proud owner of a Ural sidecar rig, which is a Russian-made motorcycle with a sidecar, passenger sidecar. It is a limited edition by call version of the bike. Long story, and I'm not going to go into it, but it was previously owned. It only had like 59 miles on it when we went and looked at it, which is amazing, and it was just incredible. I do have a picture. I'll try to take some more and maybe put some video in of it. Probably not in this video because I'm not going to be able to because it's dark, but I'll maybe put a link in to a website where you can see what they're all about. There's sort of a whole Ural subculture out there. These were originally made like back in the 1930s, and they were, military vehicles, but after they ceased being that, they were still being made, and consumers, just regular people, could purchase them, and then they started being made better, and they're the coolest things. My husband says it's like a beast, and it's like like driving a tractor. You're not going to win any speed awards with it, but that thing will go anywhere. Yeah, so I've got another motorcycle. It's pretty cool. I haven't gotten to drive it too much yet, but I could drive it all winter if I wanted to, because it'll go. Anyway, let's jump into shop news. Again, the 12 Years of Christmas went great. Thank you so much for participating. The last yay was my Dyer's Favorites 2018 colorway. I'll try to pop a picture of it in here because, of course, I didn't bring a skein over to show you. Most of those skeins that I had up are already gone. They were dyed to order, so most of them haven't shipped out yet. I will be putting more up later in January, but I think there are still a few up for grabs, and they all come with the little mini speckled skein. I did also put full skeins of the speckled skein up if you really like full skeins of speckled yarn. I think there's a lot more of those still available too. So those are still up. A lot of the pattern sets, the trapezoid socks, the mini maximization socks, there's all of those are, there's still a bunch of those in the shop. This particular mini maximization set, this blue purple one, the winter set in Bounce, is already sold out. There are still some in Bedazzled, and there's a lot of the autumn ones left. I will be dyeing up more of the winter set on Bounce again later into January, though. What else? I can't think of anything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the shop right now. Matter of fact, I mentioned this earlier. I'm doing my Out with the Old sale. It started today. It'll be running through January 1st. Use the coupon code Out with the Old, all capital letters, and you'll get 25% off anything that you buy from the shop that's in stock. So that does not count any dye-to-order stuff or any custom stuff, custom orders, but anything that's in stock in the shop. And I have a bunch of things already marked down. They're on sale just in general. I always do this at the end of the year because I love to clean out the shop as much as I can so that I have room to start putting new things in come January when I start doing, the late winter colorways going this spring, and I have some special projects that I want to be putting in the shop. And I like to clean it out. I just always feel good getting things cleaned out at the end of the year, just in general, not just yarn, but like in general. So Out with the Old, again, that will run from today, which is Saturday the 29th, through Tuesday, January 1st. So feel free to shop away. I put all the rest of my show inventory from this past show season is all up in the shop now. It took me forever, but it's all up there. The other thing that's in the shop right now are a whole bunch of what I've called dye darlings. A lot of times when I'm dyeing, I have, at the end of a dye session, I have leftover dye and I don't want to just waste it, so I will throw it on yarn or a sock blank or something. So I have a whole bunch of worsted weight skeins that were just randomly dyed with my end of the day leftover yarn. They're so much fun to do. So check those out because they're up there at a discount and they're one of a kind. So if you see one you really like, grab it now because it'll never happen again. And there's also one sock blank. Most of it's just the worsted weight yarn, but there's one sock blank. Again, unless somebody's purchased it since I looked last. But those are all that's going on in the shop through January 1st. I think that's everything I've got. I'm going to go, and like I said, I will record again after the first of the year so that I can announce the winner of the January or the November-December knit along. Oh, the other thing, I did post and ear burn everyone in the post for the conversion rewards program that we ran all this year in the shop. I want to take a minute and just thank you so much to everyone who participated in that. That succeeded more than I had ever anticipated. We had more participation than I thought we would, and I just love watching all your projects happen. But anyway, I did make a post explaining all the really important end of the year information and all the important dates about when you need to have things posted. Everything has to be finished being knitted or crafted, knitting, crochet, I think I said weaving. Anyway, the guidelines are up there, but your finished objects have to be finished by the end of December 31st, your time. You have 3 extra days till January 3rd, the end of the day, your time to get pictures and your posts up with all of the information and have your grams totaled and everything. And then you have until January 31st to contact me, have me verify your grams, and say that you're claiming your rewards. And then I need to hear back from you about what you want for your reward by the end of February. So I'm giving you as much time as I possibly can. I just don't want to have the wrap up of this program run through the rest of next year. I'm not running this particular program next year, but I do have some other plans for ways for you to earn yarn rewards or fiber rewards, and I will talk about that more in the next episode as well. So I would just direct you to that thread that you were ear burned in on Ravelry that has all of the explanation. And if you have any questions, please just PM me or post in that thread and I will definitely answer your questions. I just want to make sure everybody who's earned enough grams to get their reward gets it. I don't want you to have done all the work and then not get what you have earned. So that's everything. I'm going to go. Have a wonderful rest of your December, and I'll talk to you in the new year. Bye.